Hi, this is James Gordon here with the next book in the October Terror series, the book I'll be talking about today. Breeding Ground by Shaun Hutson. This is the sequel to his hit horror novel Slugs. It's a really cool cover. This was first published by W. H. Allen on January 1st, 1985. This leisure edition is from 1987. This was a okay sequel. I had no idea what this book was going to be about. I remember years ago someone told me on a Facebook group that I used to be part of. Someone told me that this book had people becoming like psychopathic killers come in contact within the slug trail. I thought, okay, I had no idea if that person was over exaggerating or was mistaking this for another book, but as I read it, it started off just like Slugs, like the first book, but then I started to notice what this other person told me that happens in the book, and I thought, okay, this is a little different. However, I towards the end of the book, I really didn't like it. I thought, while this book definitely has more carnage and gore in it than Slugs did, however, I felt the plot wasn't that good. Like, it feels too much like the first book, and even the ending I felt was very similar to the ending of Slugs, with a few things changed. The only thing that kind of made it a little different was this whole new thing now where if people come in contact with the Slugs slime trail, they'll get these terrible like sores and bumps growing on them, and then they'll become homicidal maniacs. I didn't like it. I kind of wish Shaun just made it more like the first novel, but up the ante with the slugs causing more death, destruction, and a higher body count. I wish he did that instead. Like this book wasn't that. It was okay. I felt it could have been so much better. I'll explain more. I'll explain more about this book, my thoughts, opinions during my review. All right, on to the book review. Plot: a homeless man, Tommy Price, searches through a garbage bin, eating whatever he can find. His clothes are torn badly, with his shoes worn out, and stinks badly. People try to avoid him as he wanders through different parts of London searching for food and even money. He even passes by a local market and takes the discarded fruits and vegetables. The vendor allows Tommy to take it. After leaving the market, Tommy eats lettuce but feels something slide down his throat. A few hours later, he begins to feel sick and vomits. People are shocked when one person attempts to help Tommy, but he flees. Later on that night, the pain in his stomach becomes worse as he reaches the park. He collapses onto a bench from the pain and makes his way to a bathroom stall where he sits on the toilet, vomits blood, along with painful diarrhea. A man who is using the stall next to him glances over and is horrified by what he sees and flees. A few days later, two teens sniffing glue discover the dead body sitting on the toilet after one of them kicked the stall door open. They are shocked to see the half-rotten man with black slugs oozing over his body. They both flee the bathroom. Detective Inspector Ray Grogan is called in after a plainclothes officer found the dead body. Ray is disgusted by what he sees along with everyone else. Ray isn't sure if the man was murdered and his body was dumped here or something else killed him. After snapping a few photos of the crime scene, Ray orders the body to be taken to autopsy. Meanwhile, John Braidson, a sewer worker, is finishing his shift with two co-workers when he is suddenly attacked by a swarm of black slugs. They fall onto his back and face and begin eating away at his raw flesh. He screams, trying to get them off, but it's no use. They devour his whole head and chest. Later on that afternoon, two friends out fishing by Fames discover John's body and call the police. When Ray shows up, he sees that both John and the homeless person have been killed the same way, as their bodies are badly mutilated. Autopsy thinks an animal could have done this, since they didn't find any evidence of knives or anything else that would point out to a killer. Mark, a teenager playing in an abandoned area with his dog dressed up in his army clothes, loses track of his dog, which he finds a swarm of slugs. They attack it and easily overpower it. When Mark enters the abandoned building, he finds his dog dead and flees, but feels something sticky on his hand as it itches badly. Mark tries to explain what happened to his mother, but she is skeptical. Mark then complains of not feeling well, and the following morning has sores over his arm. She takes him to the hospital to see what's wrong with him. Dr. Alan Flinch is shocked by what he sees and is concerned about the boy. His mother refuses to leave him if there isn't anything they can do. Alan asks for a number to call him if her son's condition hasn't improved. The following night, Mark awakens in terrible pain as the sores are spreading across his body. He gets out of bed and takes his father's straight razor and enters their bedroom. Mark slits his father's throat, causing blood to splatter all over the blanket, and then attacks his mother. He hacks her up before she is able to push him downstairs, causing the sores to explode on his back, killing him. Mark's mother bleeds to death. Alan is woken early in the morning by Detective Ray and calls him over to Mark's house. When he does, Alan is greeted by a horrible smell along with the gruesome crime scene. Alan tells him what happened yesterday, with both men trying to find answers to these grisly deaths. Over the following days, more and more people are being infected by the slime trail, causing people to be infected by a virus which the Slugs are using humans to breed with. Alan, along with a medical examiner, Benton, try to explain their findings to Ray, who is skeptical about it. However, he does agree that they are dealing with a serial killer, but isn't sure how to present his findings to the commissioner without losing his job. But things go from bad to worse when London's sewer system is clogged up, causing raw sewage to flow in the streets, with more black slugs appearing, killing people along with infecting them with their slime trail. Can Alan, Bennett, and Ray stop the black slugs from infecting more people into homicidal maniacs along with destroying London, or is it too late? Breeding Ground wasn't a good sequel, despite having more carnage and gore and scenes of people being eaten by these killer black slugs in gruesome detail. However, I didn't like the idea of their slime trail infecting people with a virus that causes sores to appear on their bodies, then become homicidal. Really didn't like the characters that much. I thought Ray was going to be the main character, but the story focuses more on Alan, as I found him flat, plain, and mostly boring. And the little drama with his ex-wife didn't care for either. The rest of the cast I didn't care for much, as nobody else stood out. I was hoping Shaun would have some fun characters thrown into the mix, but everyone felt so boring. While the detail and pacing was good, however, I was disappointed by the finale, as it felt like the same ending in Slugs, just a few things changed around. I was hoping Shaun would deliver something different and better. I felt the finale could have gone in so many ways, and if it didn't have the toxic slime trail, Breeding Ground could have been a lot better. I was also wondering if the two main characters from Slugs would appear or be brought up in this novel, but they aren't mentioned even once. Overall, I didn't like Breeding Ground. If you just want to read highly graphic violence, gore, and seeing killer slugs eat people alive, and don't care much about the plot, then you might enjoy this novel more than I did. But if you're expecting more from Breeding Ground, I would say pass on it and just stick with Slugs instead. It's up to you if you want to check out this sequel or not. Alright, that's the review today. I hope you enjoy. Yeah, I didn't end up liking this sequel. I was really expecting it to be more kind of like the first book, but with more scenes of the slugs killing people, even causing more destruction and having some like more fun and maybe over the top characters. But I didn't get any of that. It's just kind of like the same thing in the other book. You got these kind of like everyday characters that are trying to deal with these killer slugs, but the only difference with this book is that now their slime trail can infect people and cause sores to appear on their bodies and make them homicidal maniacs. I really didn't like this. It felt like Shaun was taking another like taking the infection part and from another book and then throwing into Slugs to kind of like make it a little more different. I just felt it didn't really fit in the story that well, and I just wish it had maybe like have like an even larger slug that can lay even larger eggs, and it like produces like even bigger slugs, or ones that just spread more and stuff. That would have been better. And then, of course, having the slugs, like, you know, going to, like, I was, like, trying to figure, what other, like, places could these killer slugs appear that would make this book interesting? I was thinking, like, what if they appeared in police stations, or, like, a prison even? Imagine that, if these killer slugs got into a prison, the havoc they would cause. Or I was thinking, what about the Parliament building? That would be interesting, too. Seeing these slugs appear in the Parliament building, and all the, you know, the royal family is being attacked by these killer slugs. That would have been fun, too. But, nope, Shaun doesn't go that direction, either. I just felt this book could have been better. Like I said, so many opportunities, different directions this book could have gone in, and Shaun doesn't do that. I actually thought the main character of the book was going to be Ray, because the book introduces this character. I thought, okay, we're going to have like a hardened detective-like character that's going to go up against these killer slugs. That should be interesting. But the book focused more on Alan, and this character I really didn't care for. I found him boring, flat, unlikable, and there's a bit of a there's some drama between him and his ex-wife, and some other shit. I thought, I really don't care for this character. Like, come on, give us a more fun character. Like, I don't want boring average characters to read. And I said I felt the ending was very similar to the ending in Slugs, where the main characters in Slugs go into the sewer to confront these killer bugs, and they come up with a way to deal with them. And when it gets to the ending of this, at the end of Breeding Ground, it's practically almost the same thing with a few changes here and there. And I just really didn't like the ending. I thought really he's going to end it the same way he did with Slugs, but by changing up a little bit, I just felt he could have done something better. I was even thinking, why not burn them with like napalm or flamethrower? That would have worked. Nope, he doesn't go there. Or like something else. I don't know, something different to make it different from the first book. While like the pacing is good, the detail is good. There's never a scene where I felt it was dragging on. However, when Shaun begins to focus more on Alan's past, I wish he didn't. Like, it just kind of felt like he was trying to add a little drama to the story, and it kind of made it just kind of made it like a little, it just made it boring essentially. Um, while this book does have more carnage and death, like there's a lot more gore in this book than in Slugs. Like people are being devoured by these like swarms of slugs in the like most ridiculous ways possible. There's like one part where a pervert goes to a peep show and he gets devoured by the slugs while watching a girl like dancing around behind the screen, and then there's another part where two guys are having sex with a woman and they get devoured by the slugs in a very kind of like somewhat amusing, somewhat funny scene. Um, Probably my favorite part, probably the one scene I really liked is when the one sewer worker is like at work, and all of a sudden these slugs just are crawling on the ceiling above him, and they all drop down onto his face, and they begin eating away at him, and he's screaming in agony. Like I thought that was like one of the most gruesome scenes in the whole book. Oh yeah, and there's also another kind of somewhat funny part where a guy goes to the bathroom and the slugs begin eating him from within inside the toilet bowl, which I thought was both humorous and gory. So yeah, I didn't like this book that much. I felt it could have been a lot better. So if you just want to read something, if you just want to read a book where it has just over the top violence, lots of gore, carnage, you don't care about the plot that much or the characters, then maybe you enjoy Breeding Ground more. For me, I didn't. I was expecting it to be a lot more like the first, like Slugs is a good book, but I was hoping Breeding Ground would up the ante a bit more. I just, as I said, I just didn't feel the making people like I felt the whole toxic slime trail that makes people become homicidal maniacs. And the sores appearing. I just didn't like that, and of course the ending ends off in a really lame cliffhanger. I thought, ugh, really. Luckily though, Shaun didn't bother with a third book after this. That's it. As I can only imagine, like, come on, like, how long can you keep going with killer slugs and stuff? But anyway, uh, so this book wasn't for me. All right, that's for the review today. I hope you enjoyed, and please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to October Library, the new channel where I post book reviews, book hauls, and artificial like content. Until then, I'll catch you later.